Good morning, Bat family. Welcome to the weekly Sunday Zoom call. We're about to go over the news and our weekly analysis for the pairs that we trade every single week, which include gold, the NASDAQ 100, US 30, along with a few other pairs that we analyze as well, including Bitcoin. Hope everyone had a fantastic trading week last week. We have another week full of excitement, lots of news events, and should overall provide a bit clearer direction for this week compared to last week. Overall, looking forward to this upcoming trading week. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow my Instagram pages at Bat Signals and at Build a Trader. Those are also in the video description here. Just gonna let the Bat fam know we are live and we're about to get started and jump into the news here. And then we'll cover gold after that. Alrighty, so per usual, got my Celsius here. Per usual, got my Celsius here. It is the powdered kind. I like the powdered one. It's a bit inexpensive compared to the cans, and it works just as well. I like it a lot. Alrighty, without further ado, Sunday, 3 hours into market open, 3.5 hours to market open, we have Chinese yuan, consumer price index, and producer price index. So we're already starting with medium impact news during Asia session. We should see some volatility in gold, Australian dollar, JPY, and those pairs. Should see some good movement, some good trade setups, potential good trade setups. On Monday, we have, let's see here, not too much news on Monday, just during late Asia session, we have Australian dollar, Reserve Bank of Australia rate statement, and then we have a Reserve Bank of Australia press conference an hour after that. On Tuesday, all day long, we have OPEC meetings. OPEC basically is meetings regarding oil production. Yeah, so OPEC nations represent around 40% of the world's oil supply and are unified in their oil production levels. So just countries coming to the OPEC countries coming together and having a meeting. So that will cause some decent volatility. Wednesday, New York open, we have core CPI, which is consumer price index. This measures the level of inflation in the US dollar. So we should see some high volatility during or pre New York Open. Hello, Daniel. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Shortly after that, here, we're on Wednesday for the high impact news. Wednesday morning, we have Bank of Canada rate statement as well as the overnight rate. Following that, Bank of Canada press conference with crude oil inventories. So that's following the OPEC news the previous day. And then 2 hours into Asia Open, we have unemployment rates and employment change for the Australian dollar. On Thursday, nothing but high impact news. We have high impact news for the Swiss franc, which is Swiss National Bank monetary policy assessment and Swiss National Bank policy rate. That's 30 minutes into London session. Shortly after that, 30 minutes after that news, we have Swiss National Bank press conference. Pre New York Open, we have high impact news for the euro, which is a monetary policy statement and main refinancing rate. Followed by that is core producer price index and unemployment claims for the US dollar. So what core producer price index is, it just does not include the data and energy, or it doesn't include the data for food and energy prices. The food and energy prices in the US are more volatile than your standard core goods and services, so they do not include those figures in the core producer price index. And I can just show you real quick. So change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers, excluding food and energy. Then after that, we have ECB press conference and then GDP for the Great British Pound pre-London Open, and then there is no news on Friday. So overall, this week should be a little bit better than last week, in my opinion. There's still a lot of high impact news, a lot of good news events to take advantage of, but overall, a lot of pairs were consolidating last week. Some were breaking out, but the ones that were ranging and consolidating will have clear direction, such as gold here. Right, let's take a look at gold here. We're going to start on the daily on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, the weekly time frame. It took all week up until Thursday to get this bearish move. Up until then, gold was consolidating, was range bound in between 26.30, 26.35 price range and 26.55, in between that $20 range. This was a sell setup that we were seeing, but it was called earlier in the week, and as price was range bound, it repeatedly came into our stop loss zone. So only called it once, but it ultimately did play out for the first two take profits. Almost said take profit three, but was not available to take this trade setup again. Right, so this previous week's low is going to now be the weekly low. Let's remove this here. I don't know. This will still be the previous week's low, actually, because this was last week. Previous week's high is going to be this high right here that hit this level of resistance. Ready, perfect. Let's change the color real quick. Great. Left-hand side, going to go to the 4-hour. And right-hand side, we're going to go down to the 12-hour here. Yeah, there's still range, clear range down to 25.90. That's still like what is going to happen this upcoming week. Hello, Dominic. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. And right here, though, once we break this previous week's low, it's still just a clear range down all the way 25.90. If we apply the Fibonacci tool, like I was mentioning last week, we could measure our last week's candle. So high to low. If you look at the Fibonacci extension levels here, we have this overall area for potential take profit. So 2600 is in sights, and then the extreme, or I guess in the middle of these 2 points, would be 25.90. So 2600, 25.90 is in the works here. You can see that we made a lower high, and it's looking like we're just going to continue with that overall direction we were already headed last week. So just continue lower. Yeah, that's pretty clean. We would need price to respect these areas of supply and resistance, though, on the lower time frame in order to have good confirmation to continue lower, but you can still see lower time frame level of support and structure being maintained. There is something that I react from here, but overall still looking to go lower though. If price breaks above this area of supply that we have here, then we may see a move into the previous week's high and it create a lower high on the higher time frame, but that would look a little interesting. So still leaning towards just opening bearish. Might get a slight pullback to 26.35 maybe to the middle of this candle on the 12-hour time frame. I cannot get rid of this arrow. 1 second. Actually not letting me off click it. 25.80. Oh yeah, we could definitely see down there. That's the extreme end, but I could definitely see it there. Gold always, well, not always, but a lot of times just really goes to the extreme end, and so I could definitely see that happening. All right, guys, this is actually crazy. It's not letting me remove this arrow here. So we're just going to save the chart and refresh and delete it. Much better. Oh yeah, I was using all. It was not letting me select it. It had a moment. It had a moment. All right. Yeah, overall, still downside. A lot of downside on gold. Very bearish. Might pull back a little bit, maybe even 26.40. I just don't see it really coming back up though. I see it just pushing lower. But anything can happen. Next pair, we'll start with NASDAQ 100. And then we'll look into US 30, and then we'll pull up the Bitcoin chart as well, because there's been a lot of excitement there. It broke 100K this past week and almost hit 105K. We hit just shy of it. But all right, NASDAQ here. Left-hand side will go to the 12-hour time frame, and right-hand side, the weekly time frame. We made a new all-time high last week into this green zone right here. This green zone, based off the last few weeks, I was saying was from the Fibonacci extension levels on the higher time frame. So we finally hit this overall higher time frame take profit area. Next area you may still see is this 22,800 up to 23,000. Now we would just need to continue the momentum that price is already making, but on the weekly time frame, you can see we closed strong bullish candle, no wicks or anything. We broke above the previous month's high, so we may retest this as support, broken resistance as retested support. Let's remove the text here. This previous week's high box is no longer valid. We'll put it right here. Previous week's low is going to be right here. There is a minor level of support that we have right on the 12-hour time frame, right at 21,450. Okay, let's drop this to the daily. Actually, we'll go to the 12-hour on the right and then 4-hour on the left-hand side. We have some rejection on this 4-hour candle, people taking profits, some short sellers jumping in to take a short-term scalp because they know people are taking profits here and they can get in with that short-term bearish direction. Let's see here. If this minor support breaks at 21,400 price range, let's make this a little area demand too. If this little area breaks, then there's clear range down to that broken area of support, the previous month's high at 21,250, 21,200. So down here, we could see a clean retest and then it just take off from there and continue trending to try and get to that other overall higher time frame take profit area. Let's use the Fibonacci real quick. So this is our weekly candle, our previous week's low to previous week's high. So this whole movement is last week. If we apply those, we can see where the next potential take profits are, which is 21,800 or 825 to be exact, but 21,800. So at the top of this green zone, and then beyond there, 22,000 or above 22,000, 22,080 to be exact. But that's the psychological level, key level, 22,000. We have that retest area right here, which is the on the Fibonacci, it's looking like 21,178. So this overall area, we might see some type of reaction, and then we could take those buys. But we need to see a major wick rejection, though. I could see the NASDAQ having some type of nasty wick all the way to the extreme end, and then just absolutely rocket higher, like it tends to do, or how the indices normally tend to do. So we could see something like this. If this area breaks, strong push down, and then potentially a new all-time high. I wouldn't put any limit orders though, as we're gonna need to see a reaction first. But I'm gonna put an alert at 21,250. That's gonna be a good area to take a look at. It might perfectly tap the top of the zone, so there's a few things that could happen, but this is a very important area, and it would be really nice if it did react to how I'm seeing here. We could do that if it pulls back. It could just continue, might get a slight pullback, and it just continue absolutely bullish based off of the 12-hour time or 4-hour time frame here on the left. Just a retest right here, and it only comes down to maybe just like this, and then continues. This is a bigger possibility of happening than a stronger correction, just because of how we closed. But if we go back to the weekly time frame, where that area is would be a steep correction, and this is what I would like to see. But we also may get this if there's strong bullish pressure. Overall, looking to see NASDAQ go higher. We may get a bearish pullback to start the week, but overall, still looking to climb higher and target 21,800, which is 200 points from the current price point we're at. And we may extend it to 22,000 plus, which is 400 points from where we're currently at. Next pair, US 30. The US 30 ranged all week, so this is one of those pairs that was similar to gold, that was real choppy. Sometimes at the beginning of the month, it's like that. Once we get through all the news at the first few days of the week, then Thursday or Friday, that move finally happens. So keep that in mind sometimes. It doesn't always move clean on a new month. It tries to take liquidity or get people to flip their bias or, just ultimately mess up your analysis or get you to analyze the wrong thing, even though you had maybe already anticipated what was going to happen. And just the choppiness in the market had confused you and others. And that's just how it is. Okay, so let's back up to the weekly time frame. Let's fix this trend line here. And we'll go to the 12-hour on the left-hand side. Yeah, this is just clean. It's coming to fill this gap still. Definitely looks like there's still some further downside that is to come. We might just retest the 44,400 support, previous resistance, or maybe even a little lower. Down to this area, 44,200. This is what I was seeing last week too, the same exact concept that price would fill the gap and then potentially go lower. As you see last week, just range all the way until we respected the all-time high, the resistance once again, and then finally got a strong bearish candle closure below the support. So to start the week, we could see a pullback up to this broken level support, 44,750, or potentially higher up to the previous week's high. As we know, the indices take liquidity and do a lot of false movements in order to take that liquidity. So, we could see maybe a move up and then it comes crashing down. Or it could just pull right back up to here, retest, and have a clean move down. We'd have to see about that. But based off the weekly, We measure the previous week's candle using the Fibonacci tool, the same concept. See where price may go this week, which lines up right where our area where that gap from 2 weeks ago. Where price opened a gap 2 weeks ago, this is where price is looking to target. So the 44,450 is a good area. It's right where that is. And then the extreme zone, if it comes down to completely fill this area, is 44,280. So this still lines up with exactly what we're seeing from last week and could potentially take advantage of it like this if we get a pullback and just target the first area. Nice 1 to 1.26 risk reward. So that's not too bad. If you are able to catch it with a tighter stop loss, you can definitely increase the risk reward. And let's go down to the 4 hour on the left and the 12 hour on the right. So definitely if you can get your retest, or even if price tries to retest the supply right here, stop loss above the supply, retest at this midway point or at the level, still a good setup, still high probability, and there's a good chance it goes to the extreme end. So this is still a good trade. Just not the highest risk to reward, but it's a very high probability. If we measure where we're currently at, though, we could see a potential entry point. So if we measure just this candle, this move to this move, where I had that short position here lines up with the Fibonacci levels in our area of resistance. So this could work. This is something that we might get market open. But based on how this candle closed, it kind of looks like it might start a retracement, but also could just open bearish and continue. It's hard to say. We need to see this next candle, how it plays out. Might just open bearish or might come down and make a low and then retrace and then hit this move. But this is a good setup though. I'll keep an eye on this. We'll set an alert at 44,740, slightly below this broken level of support, and we'll see what happens in this area. Overall, seeing US 30 going bearish to start the week. After that, zoom out to the monthly. It's definitely possible once we make that correction, price is going to try and break its all-time high and continue up to that blue zone on the overall higher time frame here. So 45 or 46,000 and then up to 51,000. Same concept if you apply the Fibonacci, last month's candle, we can see that. Potentially 46,000 is in the works. Next, after this move, we could correct lower, but still looking like further upside long term or in the, I don't want to say short term like week, but longer term in terms of a few weeks to a month or next month to get to this point here. Next, we're going to look at Bitcoin. And hope you guys got the TradingView Pro during Cyber Monday or Black Friday. That deal is just insanely good. And yeah, I got the premium subscription. I upgraded to that last year as, I had the money to do so. And it's a lot better. You get unlimited charts. So that's why I'm able to have all of these saved. It's very nice. But it's not necessary. Just the first upgrade that I think it's $10 a month, $12 a month. That's more than enough. I had that for years. Okay, Bitcoin here hit our green zone. This is our higher time frame zone that I was seeing based off the monthly. We basically hit the top of it. There is still some steam left. Bitcoin is definitely not done. It's in price discovery right now, and it's looking to make its high, its overall high. Now, this could be it, but I think there's going to be one more attempt, and then that'll be it. So let's go ahead and measure this low to high. So from this low to this high on the monthly time frame here on the right-hand side, this is where I got those extension levels from. So 85K was the first point. As you see, it hit, smashed through after we reacted from it. And then ultimately, looking like one. Oh, let me fix that. There we go. If we extend it though, it's ultimately looking like we can go higher. So if we move it from this point, this low, to this current new high, additional upside targets are now 117,000. So just under 120K, then up to 135,000. And as long as Bitcoin can stay above 100K and hold this as support, it's just going to keep climbing until it is done until it's done out of its price discovery phase. After that, it'll probably come back down quite a bit. Might retest where it broke out from around 70,000, 75,000, and then the next bull cycle will be in the works. But it's not done yet. There's still definitely some steam. If we measure price from where we're currently at up to 117, that's another almost 20% that Bitcoin has to go up to the maximum range, or might not even be the maximum range. Potentially could go up here or higher, but another 20 to 35% is in the books here, in the works here for Bitcoin. And as long as we stay above 100K, it's going to go. This was a really big psychological level, and we broke above it. And not only that, it looks like it's holding above it currently. So as long as it can do that, there's no stopping it for now. So we'll move this zone up to our new price area, our new overall higher time frame take profit area. So 117 up to 121,000. So this range here is now where we may be headed. Let's remove some of these technicals that we no longer need. After we hit 100,000, though, this would have been a crazy trade to get into. Very, very quick reaction, lots of momentum. A lot of people selling up here, taking profits, shorting up here. A lot of people who shorted down here got liquidated. A lot of them jumped in. A lot of them took buys. So this was all just a lot of emotion here. This is actually quite a significant pullback. This fell 14% in a matter of hours. So 12 hours it took for this to come back down 12%, and it reacted very strongly. We had people trying to buy the dip real quick, and as you saw, it did not last long. People snatched it up very, very quickly. And the traders that were buying on margin, the margin trader snapped it up right at the low, and such a good profitable trade. So they may be holding it, or a lot of them may be holding it still, or just took the scalp. But overall, there's a lot of long interest still on Bitcoin. It's just going higher. It's literally that simple. Yeah, and then as Daniel was saying, and I think you were really on the charts at that point, watching it go down. And oh yeah, literally a couple minutes just on the 5 minute chart. This is one 5 minute candle. That is crazy. Wow. Dropped 10% in 5 minutes, got snatched up. And yeah, this would have been a great move to play if you were quick with it. Been able to buy the low and also catch the quick scalps for sells. Literally a matter of minutes. Yeah, people became millionaires in minutes right here, or close to it. All they had to do was just capitalize and execute at a good price with enough risk. So this is now our new all-time high. We'll make this area support here, the 100K psychological level. Trying to figure out where I like this, see where it lines up the best. Yeah, this is good. And as you can see on the daily time frame, it gave some indecision yesterday, but right now you can see that still went down, tapped, pushed above. We may get a correction, but as long as it closes bullish and stays above this point, it's just going to climb, keep climbing. Let's go to the weekly real quick on the right. And then we'll wrap things up here. Yeah, this weekly candles, you can see the volatility in here, just extreme wicks on either side. It might try to do something like that again, maybe down to here, like 96, 97, 95,000, and then something like that. Let's see, I don't like this blue line there anymore. This is more of a zone. This wick throws everything off because, I mean, as you can see, it's just a giant wick. Like, it doesn't really respect any technicals at all. So it just kind of looks strange trying to apply a demand right here or even support. So we can put it right here because there is something, but still, yeah. If we could pull back 96,000, that'd be very cool. Very nice. Could take advantage of this as well. I'm gonna set an alert at 98,400. That way, if it starts breaking below here, I'm aware of that price is in this zone and to be attentive. And if we pop above it, we necessarily don't have to execute down there in the zone. We could, once we get notice that it's breaking 101,000, just keep or catch the momentum with it. Break above 101,000. There's this lower time frame supply here. This could also be seen as a smart money trap. Yeah, just buying at 101,000. Could take profit at the high. The low would be below the low that it would make, or we could do it here if it doesn't make one. But this is a good move in and of its own. On top of that, if it goes up to here, it's just really high risk reward trade. So overall, looking forward to it. We may get this, setup to come through. All right, but that is it. Looking forward to this week. I am going to be more active this week. I know I said that last week, but we had those family circumstances, so I could not dedicate the time I needed to. So overall, it's going to be a great week. Going to be quite a few signals, and very optimistic for the setups that we see here. And if you haven't already, feel free to join my Bat Signals Telegram. Link is in the description of this video. Follow me on Instagram at BuildATrader at Bat Signals. That's also in the description of the video. And hope you all have a great trading week. Thanks for coming by, Daniel. Hope you have a great morning, and this will be uploaded in just a few hours. See you all soon. Peace.